Okay, we are live again. So I got the petroleum set up for the modules, and that made it out to petroleum oil. I won't be able to build the plastic or the sulfuric acid until I've got more things going. So the next step is to do the iron and copper. I was going to do another silent one this time, and then I realized there's a big question here. How many beacons do you put around the miner? I mean, do we have one miner with the full set of beacons around it, or do we ever do a row of miners with beacons above and below? Do we do 2 rows of miners with beacons above and below the 2 rows, or do we just strike the miners out normally? So let's take a look at each one and try to figure out how much we need to do. So I'm going to keep some notes here. So yeah, this is all going to be in an org document. So first off, I'm going to need to have the ability to place down miners, and I want to be able to place down beacons, and let's set up some of these. I don't have a whole lot of modules here, but that should be enough. Oops, miners, not smelters. We'll deal with smelters later. So just one of these guys, if I've got full set of these, doesn't matter whether I'm sending it out onto a belt or putting it out in a provider chest. Let's find provider chests here real quick. This replicates on a 3x4 basis, and that's actually on we'll use this. This is on a 3x7 basis, so no beacons. (2x miner, 6. So this is a 3 wide by 7 high area. And according to max rate calculator, this says that I'm going to turn out 195 per minute from these guys. Well, just for baseline, 39 per minute from my base miner. And a blue belt handles 30. I believe blue belt's at 45 items per second. Yeah. So these 2 miners together almost fill up a blue belt already. So when we're going for miners that are speed moduled, we have to make it bot fed. Oh, this is per minute. Never mind. If we say express transport belt, so yeah, this is 0.01 for transport belts, which is 1 divided by 0.014 equals. Okay, so I was wrong. We could replicate this 71 times and still fit on a belt. So the no beacons items per minute is 39. There's our area, and the ratio is going to be there. And I'm going to assume that all miners are going to be speed moduled. So let's add speed modules here. So the replication span on this is still 3 wide, and it's now 10 high. And we now notice that we're at 351, so let's put that in. Let's put this in terms that we can understand sources. So this is 0 sources. What we're laying out right here is this should be 4 sources. And it's 3 wide by 10 high. We'll fill out the, and the rate here is 351. So we see already that adding these increases our rate per area significantly. So what now if we take this and let's go totally wild like this, and again, now the replication distance on this is 9 by 9, and it's still 331. But that's for one machine. So by adding in essentially 2 more beacons and making it slightly smaller total, but making the replication area larger, this is 16 sources, and this is a 9 by 9 area for 331. See, this isn't as good. Now something in the middle we could do is similar. This is 8 sources. Oops. And the replication distance here again is going to be 3 wide by 7 high. And it's 253, so this is 8 sources, 3 wide by 7 high, and 253 is our rate. So as we can see, this actually gets us our best density. And that's assuming that we stripe it across. This is going to leave us with a challenge for power if we just stripe it. So instead, let's alternate and do this for our power. So that covers. So now our replication is 6 wide by 7 high for 507. So I'm going to call this 10 sources, 6 wide by 7 high for 253.5. Well, let's call it 253. Oh, 507. I'm sorry. That didn't make sense. There we go. So the difference here is that I forgot to put in 253.5. There. So this is the geometry I'm going to want to use. And in terms of express transport belts, if I were to feed express belts through, this is 0.188, which means clear 1 divided by 0.188 equals. So we could replicate this 5 times and still fit the whole thing on a blue belt, which means we'd have half a blue belt on top and half on the bottom. That's eminently doable, but only 5 times across is not going to get us a whole lot. Let's see what that looks like. So snap to grid, relative, and the grid size width is 6, and the height is going to be 7. So there's our unit that we're replicating. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a blue belt right there. And we would have to put them side by side and a blue belt out each direction if we're using belts. I am inclined to make this, well, inclined. You know, I think I could put 2 of these side by side and do some belt shenanigans in the middle, or put 2 of them side by side and have belts going out opposite directions. So that's our densest thing. Let's do it in terms of blue belts now. I'm going to have to carve this up a bit. So again, there's our replicator. And if we want to have half of it going left and half of it going right, we'll need to do some funky things with the belts in the middle. And we'll figure that out in a moment. Snap, relative, 6 and 7. Did I get that right? That's 0.939 belts. If we put one more on there, that will overfill a belt. And we don't really want that. We could put one more machine out here and use it to top it up, which would give us that much. That seems reasonable. Extra machine to top up. Just like that. And these 2 belts together so I think at this point that's covered. Yeah, we can do that. And on the right end, chop those guys off. And now we could put one of these facing each direction across the middle if we wanted to. So let's grab this whole thing. Let's set up as a snap to grid. Um, see, this is 52. I really, horizontally, I don't want it snapping into the grid because I'm not going to be doing much, but vertically I do. It's 7 high here. And widthwise, if I stomp it across to the right, I'm just going to let myself get a gap in the middle here to make it obvious that I shouldn't be doing that. And this is going to be called blue mining. And our icon here will have blue modules. Make it clear that I am blue moduling the whole thing here. Now I built one earlier which was just wrong. Let's get rid of this. So there's our blue mining blueprint. Now if, oh, I did set relative, there we go. So if we wanted to put one going each direction, so we'd end up with most of a blue belt going left and most of a blue belt going right, we could do that, and it would look something like this. And I could suck it in by one, but then I'd have to work with the blueprint. This would be the right layout. And again, these would not be full blue belts coming out left and right, but it does cover the whole of the patch. I think it's more important to cover the whole patch than to have each belt be full. So let's actually do that. And the way we'll do that is we'll stamp them down facing left, and then we'll stamp them down facing right. I believe this is the center of the patch, so I'm going to go 5 up, and 5 on the left and 5 on the right. Oh, let's make sure we get all of these pulled up. And Spidertron can go up there. So, based on my build, get my Spidertron well out of the way so that I don't have to see its build grid. Oh, it looks like it doesn't have space in its inventory for stuff. That's going to be ugly. What do I want to pull into my inventory from here? Let's pull in the belts and the modules. There. So now we move it out of the way. Back to what I was doing here. So using my Roboport coverage as kind of a guide, this has me centered mostly on the patch. And I want to be roughly centered on the miners, and there's going to be a 1 gap in the middle, so let's put it here. And it looks like there's going to be 7 lines coming out each way. Nine lines. Okay, so this is actually a very dense cover. And I noticed that I did not cover completely all of it. The thing is that we're also not covering 1 row out of each of the beacons. And We are close enough to center that I am happy. So now we just need to get Spidertron up here and get the whole thing built. Now, I'm not too worried about getting all the modules in. As we build this area, the modules are going to be iffy. So, among other things, I'm going to be turning off my personal RoboPort, so I'm going to keep a stack of each thing. But now we can toss this stuff in here. What we'll do is we'll just let the Spidertron build things, and as we get things that we can't build, we'll find out what they are, and we'll toss the inventory into the Spidertron. But let's prioritize getting builds out first. I wish there was a sort button. Next time I cut, I'm going to see if I can get a add-on to help sort my inventories. Now, I could actually help out by hand if I had more. If I had more beacons, I could stamp down beacons. But I don't have any beacons left. How about that? Oh, and we don't need the productivity modules because we're not using those in the mines. And I almost didn't save any speed modules. I need at least some speed modules so I can module things when I'm putting them in. So here, yeah, we're missing beacons. That's, I think, about it. Yeah, beacons and speed modules. Yep. So let's make sure that the robot, make sure that the Spidertron is set to pick those up. In fact, let's pull in everything and we'll let it sort in my inventory. And we'll do this. I believe we have now placed everything we can place here. We do want to get power in, and I can just drag a power line. Which way do I want to drag a power line? I could drag a power line south. South from the middle is good. There's our center point. And let's just kind of confirm the center point here. But I want to lay it out with big poles. Good enough. And I like to have everything on proper grid, which means really coming up from below like this. And actually, if I'm serious about being on grid, I should be on grid based on the grid. So let's start from here. Thank you, autosave. So that's fairly close to the middle. Now I goofed because I cut the power there. And what's going on here? I guess I messed up the spacing? So why is this? This didn't build. There. So yes, now we are actually mining. Now if I take a look at the entire mining array, this is going to not include modules that are not present yet. But what this says is that I am still peeling 9.5 blue belts, even with the partial build. And according to the calculator, what I need is 4.3. Is that correct? Yep, I just have that one calculator open. So this is definite overkill, mega overkill, which is good, because now I'm going to take all of these, and what I want to do is shove them all into the appropriate number of smelter arrays. And we will get to that. So the other mine is the copper mine down here. Let's find out just exactly how much stuff I need to bring back. Maybe I can do it all in one trip. I probably have, well, I have the other two Spidertrons that are set up for solar panels, but I can refit them. Now the whole purpose of this is to make modules. So the fact that maybe the modules are going to be a bit slow, I think this is about centered. So we can put our first one down here. And we actually still get some mines down there, so that's good. Now, something that I can notice here, well, first of all, how many rows is this? This is going to be 10 belts per side. I don't really like doing a 10 merge. I can do an 8 merge really well. I love 8 merges. So if I can take the top two the outer two and fold them in before we start, then I can merge the 8 and the 8. And I could do that on the other one as well. Because you know that the top and the bottom ones are going to be lower rate. And it looks like we are out of undergrounds as well. Okay, so that's useful to know. I think the easiest way for me to sanitize my inventory is to put my personal inventory in a box. Let's drop it as a requester chest just to make sure. And then I take this and pull everything out, push everything back in, and that sorts it up neatly. And let's start from the middle here, and we'll go all the way up to the top, and then we'll build power coming down. And that may not hook up power. Oh, how about that? It's in the same place. In fact, let's do this as a blueprint with a snap to grid relative to the height of 30. So, oops. So now I can just I should have set a long width as well so I don't accidentally do things. Okay, so as we build this grid, power will flow. So yeah, we need a lot of everything. So what are we set up here for logistics wise? Well, we obviously want to pick up all the modules that are available. I'm going to toss the productivity modules in, except for one. In fact, for what we're doing right now, let's leave the productivity modules. Well, if we leave the productivity modules, it won't make more. So yeah, let's keep them on us. Anything else we do not need for this? Let's increase. We're using a lot of these, so we'll increase them. We're not actually using a lot of express mergers. I will be hand building some splitters out of those, but 100? Yeah, 100's enough. Okay, so the question in my mind now is, do I need to drop more solar? I think the answer to that is always going to be yes. So I think that's the solar blueprint I selected. So let's go ahead and drop this down. We'll let these robots build whatever they can build. Why do we have... Oh, right. Their build radius is not the whole thing. So, purple, you go there. And yellow, you go down here. And we'll just let these build for the moment really quickly until until the Spidertrons run out of cargo. Let's speed it up a little bit. Okay, so purple's done. So you go over to there. And yellow's done, so you can go over there. See, with the speed turned up, these can build fairly quickly, and I believe that this is going to be partials on these. Oh, purple actually finished that. How about that? It'd be kind of cool if the stock that I'd set up was for the whole field. I thought it was for the half. Okay, so we still have a couple of things down there that need to be done. So yellow, you go back down to here. There we go. So now purple and yellow can follow me back to base. You do that with control click of the remote on the master. And they will now follow me. Okay. So if I let it go as fast as it can go, you notice that my UPS is no longer as stellar as it once was. At some point I'm going to have to figure out why it's that low, but still 5 to 1. Yeah. Okay, so yellow and purple and blue. Jump out. And let's go ahead and let it run at 5x speed so it can get me stuff, and I'll leave the debug on so we can see what's going on. The bulk of the robots, of course, are still servicing the module machines. And that's what this whole yak shaving series is about. At this point is getting a outpost up that can build the modules. Now, it was actually tempting to blueprint and set up the module base, leaving just spaces for the beacons and the modules, and then come back later and stripe them in, but then I would have had to do that by hand because I don't have any easy way of inserting modules in machines with blueprints, I think. It would also mean that I couldn't really get a good read on rates. Yeah. not so much a bad thing. The way I'm going here, I may end up having all the modules in the module factory before it's complete, which is not what I had thought I was going to do. But apparently this main base turns out modules fairly well. So how are we doing here? My personal inventory, I have been supplied. Yellow is waiting on more solar panels. Purple is waiting on more solar panels and more substations. And blue is full. Which means I need to reduce some of the load in blue. Let's put transport belts and undergrounds. Let's put, in fact, the whole blue thing. Let's do the whole thing over here as well. One row of each. One row of each. So blue belts, we're going to go with one row, which is that much, and express is going to be 500, and well, splitters, let's still only do some. Thing is that the express underground belts, they are expensive and they are slow to build, and I have been trying to get them built, and our problem is that I just don't have the iron for it here. I'm wondering if I need to just go in and force upgrade to blue all along that iron path and just bite the bullet until then. Yeah, let's... This is mostly blue already, so I'm thinking this might be good enough if I just upgrade this one line. Yeah, let's drop this whole thing in. See if I can get that iron upgraded there. I may also have better luck if I stop making modules. So let's do that. So to cut module production, go back here, we say -0. So this is the number of modules that I want. So we're still going to build solar panels and accumulators because we still desperately need those. But if I did this right, that should have caused a decline in my resource usage. Or it will when everybody backs up. So also to encourage the placement of belts, I'm going to shut these all down to 0. So that makes as many blue available as possible. So I'm not seeing upgrade markers. Yay! So with all the scattered yellows on these guys, we're only getting 1 yellow belt for each of these. Are going to be 8 yellow belts total coming in, but we only have the 1 lane here that's actually blue all the way through. So that helps. Of course, now we're not actively building these guys. We'll let this finish up. It's pretty close. Wait for it. So we also are building. I thought I was building beacons out here somewhere too. I guess not. So my only beacon builder is inside the inside the mall. Unless I scattered it somewhere else. No, I didn't. Well, we clearly need more. So this is beacons. This is going to be locked to beacons. And we're going to have up to 200 beacons. Well, how about 500 beacons available? And here and here. And now we need more copper. Like that. Now, I know this is going to cause some problems. So have we shut down production yet? It's drifting downward. That's good. So we are going to crank up some production for the beacons. And if we start asking for belts again, oops, we do not need that many. And this guy is 500 and 250 and 100. And my personal is 5250 and 250 because I'm going to be doing things manually. So if we go up here, we see that once again we are limited by our yeah, the problem here is that we have yellow stuff in the way. Just like that. So all that effort to set this line up as blue and him. So both of these center lines need to be blue now. We already got the lower one. Let's get this one. There. And there go the upgrades. So not sure why he was stuck there with a gear, but there we go. Oh, right. He's got nowhere to put his output, so he told the assembler or the inserter to stop. So this is still not enough gears. But these guys are running flat out. So this is as good as it's going to get for this array. So that tells me that if I'm going to be using a lot of belts in my big factory, I'm going to need a belt factory. Let's take a look at the trunk here. These guys should have modest amounts of blue belts. Let me get some steel chests here. So I have some place to put my inventory while I sort these guys out. There. And we'll package up the inventory on these guys when we get there. So purple, follow me, and yellow, follow me, and blue. Just like that. Did we pick up beacons and modules? Pretty sure we did. Yep, we picked up 100. That's not a lot. But they only stack in tens, so I may have to send people back and forth to get more. Let's do that. So these guys, I want to carry, say, 200 beacons as well. Let's go pick those up. So here comes the beacons. Well, they got a bunch of them. I can come pick up some more later. Here we are. Let's get the beacon set up first for the iron lines. Okay, so right now, with all of the modules and beacons so far put in, this says I've got 12. Come on. I've got 9 belts, which means really I want to do the top and the bottom merged. And then the 4, top, bottom merged, and the 4, and that gives me 16 belts carrying 12 belts worth of traffic. I can jam that through 16 smelters, and we'll be happy. And I think the way I want to do this, let's see. I want to put my smelters out over here to the left of the water coming down. That'll mean that the iron plates will be coming down from the north, and the copper will be coming up from the bottom, and we'll figure out here what we're going to do. We do have coal here, which we can use for our plastic. We just need to make sure that we don't overrun it. So I think what I want to do is have my copper go up and over and across this way, and I'll have my smelters output to the south. So I'm going to use my my merger that has the gap in the middle, and we will promote this to blue, like that. And down at the bottom here, we're going to bring in the one guy from the bottom and merge it up. That was not good. That also wasn't good. Whoops, off by one. Let's make sure everybody is rejecting the copper. Okay, so that has my 16 lanes of copper ready to go. And I'm going to do my usual thing with that. Craft these edges properly. Thank you, autosave. So these 16 lines are going to go get smelted. Oops, somebody's not hooked up right. There we go. Keep grabbing the wrong one. Okay. So we have 16 lanes of blue. These top and these bottom 8 aren't balanced to each other, but they should be roughly equal. Good enough. Yeah. If we really need to, I can find a 16 to 16 balancer and do something to make it 16 to 9 or whatever we need. Now this does mean that I'm going to be building larger smelters than are in the original plan. But that's okay. Overkill is good. So let's run this out. So the undergrounds, this isn't strictly needed, but I am going to go ahead and do it. There. So all of these are going to go off to the left, and they're going to feed smelters that are going to be headed north to south. I hope that's enough room. And I am off by 1. Ha! I guess everybody's out of blue. Yep. So let's go get some more. I think at this point I'm going to put a cut in, and when I come back I will have all of these belts run out, and I will have some plans for the smelters ready to go.